Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to part three. When the sex is good. Um, I just been thinking. I took a little eat break. I didn't want to do these videos in days. I kind of want to just do it back to back. So everything that was in my mind, it kind of be fresh. My hair's a mess. I'm tired of this hairstyle. I'm about to cut this off. But my experience dealing with men, you know, it hasn't put men in a better spot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially my daddy being the dummy that he is. Um, and it just concerns me because I'm thinking, I just never quite understood how is it that you can have a child in this world that you know for a fact is yours. You never try to deny it. It ain't like he wanted a paternity test or try to go on Maury and say, this is not my son, because obviously I am his. And so I never quite understood that. How can you have a child in the world and don't take care of them? Don't want to see how they doing, their well being, even if you didn't have money, your time, your love, your affection, your support. It takes nothing to go to my grandma's church and come see me play the keyboard and watch me sing. You know what I'm saying? Like that just takes time and enough thought to care. And that's the thing that really disturbs me because I'm just thinking, just randomly thinking, like, suppose he came yesterday to California, you know, and he not confess his love for me, but apologize and say, I'm sorry, Rico, for not being there for you. I'm sorry for abandoning you. It was nothing that you ever did, son. I always loved you, but I was dealing with my own mess, and I'm 60 years old, and I'm just figuring this out. If you could ever find it in your heart to forgive me, it would mean the world to me. I don't know what I would do. I know what I think I might do. I might slap him. I definitely might slap him. Cry, curse, yeah, all that stuff. And I'll probably consider letting him back in my world, letting him in my world, not back into my world. I guess because he ain't never got in there good enough. But you know, just to think, and I think everybody can relate to this, especially men. Um, it's a place in your mind where you have always, if you haven't had a daddy, you've always desired to have that male figure. Because some people can't really relate to this because they had a brother or a sister or auntie or uncle. I didn't have that. I didn't have no male figure there, outside of my daddy. So it's not like, oh, I got an older brother, I got an uncle. It was just me by myself. So all these things I had to figure out. Even learning how to deal with my mom and my grandma. If a man was there to tell me, yo, Xavier, you're never gonna win with women. So just do what they say and your life would be much easier. I could have saved my behind a lot of whoopings, a lot of punishment, a lot of trial and errors if somebody would have told me that. But I just had to figure it out on my own. You know what I'm saying? And my daddy, it's like, how could you forgive somebody? You just not figuring that out? Like every time, how many times I have played in my mind over and over. Like I have this one scene in my mind where I never forget the girl that I was supposed to marry, the girl that I thought I would marry in fifth grade. Back in fifth grade, I had got in a fight over it because it was this other boy that liked her and I liked her, and of course, me and her was chilling. I'm pretty sure she wasn't chilling with the other boy. So he was on. It's so childish, but he was on one side of the gate, and I was on the other side of the gate in school. And I think maybe I was teasing him. I don't know what was going on, but somehow we end up not racing each other, but basically I was rushing to get on the bus so I can escape him because he was trying to find a loophole to beat me up or fight me or something. So we ended up getting up in a scuffle, and I got beat up. I guess I got beat up. I ain't gonna say I guess I didn't win the battle in my mind. And I always had this thought that when I was running toward the bus, before he even got a chance to put his hands on me, that my daddy snatched me in his arms. And when the dude saw my daddy was there, he just kind of looked. But no matter what happened, My dad was like, "I got you, son. I got you." And like I'm in fear and trembling because I don't know where my daddy came from, but I'm just glad he was there for me. I played that scene in my mind like 1,000 times. Like I just felt like my life would have been so much different if he was just there. Like just be there for me. And I graduated high school. My mom and grandma was there, and it's like you accomplished something that he was unable to. You graduated high school for one, and you made it without him. Like this is a milestone in your life that you can never repeat. He wasn't there. He wasn't there at the beginning, and he ain't there when your life is really about to start. You're coming into manhood now. This is where you make the hard decision, your life decision, things that's going to make you or break you, so to speak. You know, he just wasn't there. I just always remember him not being there. And those things deeply, just deeply affected me. And I know you probably saying, well, what does this have to do with when the sex is good? Sex. Sex, like I said before, it's a soul tie. And for me, that's been my problem. That was my addiction. That's been my struggle. You understand what I'm saying? Trying to find love in a man, trying to find love in a woman. It ain't there. I used to think, oh, niggas ain't this, but it's the same way with females. And God has been teaching me. Just be patient with me. But this is what God has been teaching me, especially lately. In the Bible, it says the safest place in the world is in the will of God. If the safest place in the world is in the will of God, then the most dangerous place, obviously, must be outside the will of God. I used to think that, okay, well, I'm going to hell if I continue to be with a man. But I realized, I'm like, that's not what God was trying to say. If you're outside the will of God, it don't matter if you're with a woman. If you're outside the will of God, you're still going to hell. You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if I'm with a man. It doesn't matter. If you're outside of the will of God, you're in a dangerous place. I could be with a girl all I want to. If it's not the one that God assigned to me, I'm in trouble. And some people don't see it like that, but that's the truth of the matter. See, I have learned, and I'm learning to distinguish the voice of people from the voice of God. Because society makes you say, well, at least you're with a woman and not a man. No, see, that's something that society has put on us. No. It don't work like that. Outside the will of God is outside the will of God. It don't matter. See, we as human, we measure sin. Versus somebody rob a bank versus somebody stealing a pencil. Robbing the bank obviously is the worst. There, there are levels of consequences to everything that we do, but wrong and sin is sin because no matter what the sin is, from the smallest of sin, because what happens is sin, it leads to death no matter what it is. But that's how you know it's grace and mercy. I'll give you an example. If a person starts stealing pencils in elementary school, this and that, then they graduate to stealing shoes or clothes from out the store, then they graduate to grand theft auto or something like that. Before you know it, that has taken over their life. Even lying, because you can't just steal without lying. You got a lie to cover this up, and you got a lie to do this. You got to pretend to be this person. Before you know it, your life is just wrapped up. You started with weed, then it might be coke, and then it'll be coke and weed, then it might be coke, weed and meth, and then coke, weed, meth, and then heroin, and then coke, weed, and crack, and this. And before you know it, it consumes your whole life. So you're a liar, a drug dealer, just everything that's not good. You know what I'm saying? Any sin can take up your life. Homosexuality can take up your life. Lust, it's not about homosexuality, it's about lust. It's about desiring the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just that simple. I can preach, I can make 1,000 videos, but I feel like it's very simple. And it's so simple that people miss it. I've learned this, even as being a Christian, as being a leader, any of those things. You have to let people be who they are. No matter how hard you preach to them, they're going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. If they have a relationship with God, they have to be convicted of whatever sin they are. And you have to, and I've also understood this. If I decide, okay, homosexuality is, I mean, God is pleased with that. Like, I feel like I can be a gay man and I can still preach and I can sing. You know, if I accept that, then I would have to understand that a lot of Christians, a lot of people in this faith are not going to be accepted. They're not going to want to call me to their workshop or to ministry, to minister wherever they are. I have to understand that when you operate in certain things, you have to understand that people are not going to respond. That's just like if I'm being a Christian. You think people at a mosque or at a Muslim place is going to invite me to minister? No, of course not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to know what you're getting yourself into. You have to realize that every battle is not meant for you to fight. And I've realized that, like, I spent so much time fighting all the wrong battles, like I said in Awakening, trying to prove that I'm masculine, that I'm man enough to do this. So I can play sports, I can do this, I can do that. When it really wasn't about nothing. Like, why waste my time? So what God is teaching me right now, like, just live your life, Zay. That's all you gotta do. Read your Bible, go to church, and God, it's not for me to have all the answers right now. Some things take a lifetime to figure out. I don't know what the Lord might reveal to me after I turn this camera off. I don't know what tomorrow may hold. But I know that whatever you're going through, there is a purpose. There is a reason for it. You have to figure it out. Mama, daddy can't figure it out. No prophet can prophesy it to you. Nobody can lay hands on you and do all that. All that stuff is fine and dandy. Everything, has its purpose. But you have to know Jesus for yourself, and you have to hear His voice and let Him reveal everything that you need to know about you. About you, let Him tell you about you, because nobody knows you better than the one that created you, and that's God. So I don't know if there's anything else that I want to say. When the sex is good, maybe this should be a part 4, right? All right, so that's what it is. Woo, this is turned into a whole 4-part series, I guess, all the way driven, y'all.